This is Rummy's Corner. Who were the top 5 heavyweight champions during the 1970s? In the 1970s, there were 8 men who held at least a portion of the heavyweight championship between January 1st, 1970 and December 31st, 1979. For the purposes of this video, we are specifically comparing heavyweight championship reigns and championship bouts that happened during this particular stretch. Joe Frazier entered 1970 as the NYSAC heavyweight champion, and Jimmy Ellis entered 1970 as the WBA heavyweight champion. The first heavyweight championship contest of the decade happened in February 1970, when Ellis and Frazier squared off for undisputed heavyweight supremacy. The vacant WBC title was also on the line, and this would be the last championship fight involving the NYSAC. Smokin' Joe won the fight by 4th round stoppage, marking Frazier as the world heavyweight champion. Muhammad Ali returned in October 1970 when he stopped Jerry Quarry in round 3. And this was significant because Ali still technically held a valid claim to the lineage, having never lost the championship inside the ring. Frazier defended the championship a month later in November when he scored a second-round knockout against Bob Foster, and Ali had another match in December when he stopped Oscar Bonavena in round 15. This paved the way to the fight of the century in March 1971, the epic first encounter between Smokin' Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. Both men were undefeated, and each had a valid claim to call himself heavyweight champion. Frazier was victorious, winning a 15-round unanimous decision, where he solidified his claim as world heavyweight champion when he defeated the lineal champion in Ali. Frazier made 2 more soft-touch title defenses in 1972, and then in January 1973, Frazier was stopped by Big George Foreman in round 2. Foreman made 2 title defenses, including an early stoppage win against Ken Norton, before losing the championship in October 74 against former champion Muhammad Ali. Ali made 4 title defenses in 1975, including a victory in his famous rubber match against Frazier, the Thriller in Manila. Ali made 4 more title defenses in 1976, including a victory in another rubber match, this one against Norton. Ali would make 2 more defenses in 1977, then he lost the championship against Leon Spinks in February 78. Spinks was stripped of the WBC for agreeing to a rematch with Ali, and Norton was awarded the WBC belt in March 78. In June 78, Norton lost the WBC belt against Larry Holmes in a classic 15-rounder. In September 78, Ali beat Spinks to regain the WBA belt, making him the first 3-time world heavyweight champion. Shortly after, Ali retired, rendering the WBA vacant. Holmes defended the WBC title a total of 4 times in 78 and 79 to close out the decade, his last defense in September 79 when he stopped Ernie Shavers. Then in October 79, John Tate defeated Jerry Coetzee for the vacant WBA belt, and that was the final heavyweight championship contest in the 1970s. So based on championship performances between January 1st, 1970 and December 31st, 1979, which is technically based on 27 heavyweight championship contests, or 29 if you include Ali's lineage fights without a belt, I think this one is very straightforward, although there is one extremely difficult choice to be made, and it's a damn tricky one where you can quickly get lost in the mental gymnastics of it all. But starting with the 3 who didn't make the cut, and no disrespect to any of these heavyweight champions, but John Tate, Ken Norton, and Jimmy Ellis don't make the cut. The only one of that trio who had a championship victory in the 70s was Big John Tate, and that was for the vacant WBA belt. So number 5 for me, Leon Spinks. Spinks won the heavyweight championship in just his 8th professional fight, a heavyweight record that stands to this day. It was a decisive win against an aging legend where Spinks clearly won, despite the split decision verdict. Number 4 is Larry Holmes, the Easton Assassin. Larry won the WBC belt in that classic encounter against Norton, and then he stayed active, making 4 title defenses, all by knockout, in a span of a little over a year. I think Holmes clearly edges out Spinks for the 4 spot, but I also believe he's clearly below the 3 above him. And then we come to the tricky one, and it's a damn tricky one. Number 2 and number 3, George Foreman and Smokin' Joe Frazier. At quick glance, Foreman demolished Frazier in their championship showdown, where the rematch doesn't factor in here in terms of comparing championship reigns. So it basically boils down to the 2 biggest championship victories. Foreman's 2 big wins were against Frazier himself and also Kenny Norton. Frazier's 2 big wins came against Jimmy Ellis and Muhammad Ali. Digging deeper, Frazier had 5 title defenses, more than twice as many as Foreman. I'm still torn on this one, and I actually went back and forth and changed the graphic here a couple of times with my indecisiveness. But ultimately, when you evaluate the 2 championship reigns, I believe Frazier has a slight edge in quality. So for me, Big George came in at number 3, and Smokin' Joe is number 2 for me in terms of 1970s heavyweight championship ledgers. But I think you can reasonably make a case for George over Joe here too. Number 1 was a no-brainer. Muhammad Ali clearly had the greatest heavyweight championship credentials in the 1970s, much like he did in the 1960s. Ali had 10 title defenses, and he won 12 sanctioned championship contests. 14 really, if you include his defenses of the lineage, which I undoubtedly believe is a valid stance, especially since in more modern times with the great abundance of alphabet soup, the lineage is far less biased and politically motivated than sanctioning bodies. And by extension, you could make a case that Ali had 12 title defenses in this frame. I'm actually far more inclined to consider things in this light when evaluating championship reigns for this series. So here are my final rankings, but either way, it doesn't factor in here because Ali was clearly the top heavyweight champion in the 70s, and he earned era-defining victories against Big George and Smokin' Joe, the clear number 2 and number 3 guy, even if you disagree with my ordering. So it's really no contest on that front. I think everyone would agree that the top spot is a no-brainer. Muhammad Ali was undoubtedly the greatest world heavyweight champion during the 1970s, much like he was in the 1960s. So what do you think of my final rankings here? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed and have a wonderful night. This is Rummy's Corner.